This is the public safety meeting, December 14th, 2022 at 5:30 p.m. with myself, Nick Allen, and Sheila Vaccaro. We'll go ahead and call this meeting to order. Item number 2 is common suggestions, petitions by residents and attendants regarding items not on the agenda. Alrighty, seeing none, we can move on to item 3A, which is our monthly fire department report.
Good evening, Steve Pelna, Fire Chief. I want to start off by thanking Sheila and Lisa for their support last night in the parking committee for the parking incentive that the borough is going to do for our volunteers along with Good Fellowship. So we greatly appreciate that. One more aid to our recruitment and retention within the department. We set another record. 1,413 calls. That's the most we've ever had in 1 year, and we're already there at the end of November. So pretty substantial numbers for us. Few vehicle fires in 3 different townships in the last month. There's no connection between those, so we're not seeing any reason why we're having multiple car fires. But just wanted to hit on those. We had an electrical fire at one of the South Campus apartment buildings. We had to evacuate quite a few students and temporarily house them during that time while we extinguished the fire there. Pretty substantial when I look at property contents year over year. We're at 4.3 million last year, 87% reduction this year. We're at 539. So even though we're going to a lot more calls, we're not seeing the property loss that we saw in the past. Any questions?
I guess my question is, why do you think we're setting call records? Do you have an idea?
A lot, post-COVID, a lot of movement. We're seeing a lot of vehicle accidents. We're seeing a lot more activity on the alarm side, the false calls, and something that I hope to bring up as a suggestion in the first quarter is taking a look at our alarm ordinance. As far as the penalties, looking at some of the other townships, their penalties are more severe. So something we should take a look at to help drive that call number down. So
great, I appreciate question. That. Yeah, thanks so much. We're good. Awesome.
Okay,
appreciate it. Yeah, have a good night. Item 3B is our police department report. Hey, Chief Moorhead.
Good evening, James Moorhead, Chief of Police. For the month of November, the police department responded to 2,875 calls for service, of which 2,060 of those were in the borough. Of note for the month of November was a serious assault we had on Thanksgiving Day. An arrest was made immediately, and that case remains open. The victim is still attempting to recover and is still hospitalized. I can answer any questions you have about that after the meeting. Of crime note, otherwise, it was a very similar month from months past. We had no spikes in crime, nothing other than that one assault that I wanted to talk about. I do want to take a moment to quickly discuss the Christmas parade. The event was a complete success. In large part to the planning with the borough and the chamber, the police department, fire department, EMS, Dave March and the operations center. Everything was so well orchestrated, put together. I was out there, I had a great evening, and it was a huge success. And I'm just happy to see that go so well and everybody enjoy themselves. 2 final things. Officer Flick, who's been with the department for 24 and a half years, retired after, again, 24 and a half years of service. Congratulations to him. And Lieutenant Josh Lee just returned from the FBI National Academy, where he lived for 10 and a half, 11 weeks down in Quantico, Virginia, studying executive leadership with the FBI's best. He graduated from session 284. And 236 members of that session graduated with him. A small contingent, including myself, went down last Wednesday and got to see Josh graduate on Thursday. So congratulations to him. And I'm excited about the new skills and education that he brings back to the police department. And I'll take any questions.
Thank you very much for all of that. So congratulations and thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, likewise. Thank you very much. And again, for everyone, thanks for all the help with the parade as well. It's great. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Alrighty, item number 3C is our monthly EMS report.
Justin Robbins, Interim Director of Operations, Good Fellowship Ambulance. So for the month of November, we actually saw our call volume decrease slightly. We were down to 171 calls in the borough. Our busiest days of the week here remain Wednesday. Pretty steady through the weekends though. Our call volume by the hour, we're seeing that we're busier here in the afternoon, early evenings. And then a slight uptick at around that midnight, 1 a.m., 2 a.m. hour. Most of our patients are going up to Chester County Hospital here. That's our norm, no change there. And then you see all of our call outcomes right there on the right. Everything within our normal. We had 15 Westchester University related calls in Westchester in November. We had 27 calls that involved alcohol or drugs. And, sick person has been our biggest call almost month after month recently. The flu is bad this year, RSV is bad in the small kids. So we're seeing a lot that fall into that sick person. Any questions on that report? No. And then I just want to quickly go over, as of December 1st, we've actually opened another substation. I'm sure everyone's aware that in 2021, the university actually closed QRS 58, which they had been open for about 40 years, I believe. We immediately stepped and asked the university, what can we help with? What can we do? There's a huge benefit to not only the university, but the surrounding area, the students, and Good Fellowship, as we've had a lot of our volunteers start there. That's where they get their first EMS experience, and then they come to Good Fellowship, they get their training. We end up retaining them also as a volunteer. We have employees, people that have been here a long time that just started as college students at the QRS. So working over the past year with them, we were able to launch, now it's QRS 355 as of December 1st. So they went in service. They've taken a few calls already. And that is staffed 100% by student volunteers. We are working to allow alumni to do it as well, but that'll be a strictly volunteer unit that's going to cover that whole little area down there in the university and the neighborhood right around. So great benefit to the area.
Awesome. Thanks. I really appreciate that update.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Alrighty. Any comments, questions from the public? Thanks again. I could never do any of your jobs, so I appreciate it a lot. Thank you. Item 4A is a motion to consider the school resource officer contract between the Borough and Westchester Area School District.
Thank you, James Moorhead, Chief of Police again. I've discussed briefly with the Public Safety Committee a month or two back that this was on its way. We've been working hard all year with the school district to get to this point. A contract for the borough is in hand, as well as West Goshen Township and Westtown East Goshen Township, that would put a uniformed police officer in each of the 3 high schools in the Westchester Area School District. And those officers would also be responsible for visiting the other schools in the district as well. This is, from my perspective, is a huge force multiplier for the borough's police department. We cannot have police everywhere at one time. We can certainly not respond to incidents within seconds, even though we do have a fantastic response rate. So to have a police officer embedded in the school system on a daily basis during the school hours is an enormous safety thing for us that we're going to really rely on heavily. On top of that, that officer is going to be able to promote the occupation of policing, have discussions with students, be a confidant to students for problems that they're facing, be able to provide support to them on any level. And nationally, we've seen these programs have nothing but huge success. I'm glad that it's finally here. I'm asking that the council discuss and vote on this next week. The school district is reimbursing the borough for the officer's time. The contract has had many revisions, and our solicitor has gone through it, and we feel we're at the point now that we can bring it to council. This position will begin January 3rd, and the fortunate part for Westchester Police is that I'm going to absorb this position from inside of our resource unit. So our resource unit that does traffic safety, trucks and weights, that does community policing, does a whole slew of things. We're going to have an officer from that squad, or an officer now assigned to that squad, because we took applications for this position. We interviewed, we picked the best candidate for the position, and that officer will be attached to the resource squad and be responsible for this assignment. So there'll be no additional manpower coming into the police department at this time. And this is a 5-year contract that does have cost of living increases with it as well. And excited to be here, and I'd like to see the Public Safety Committee send this up to full council for discussion and a vote.
Any questions about that?
No, thank you. I greatly appreciate it.
Okay, thank you.
Any public questions or comments? I don't have any issues with that. I think it's a great idea.
I have a freshman in high school and then a middle schooler who's on his way, and thank you. That's what I have to say. Thank you.
Yeah.
Great. I guess we can call this a 2-0 then. Awesome. Thanks very much.
All right, thank you.
For B is a motion to consider a contract for EMS services for Good Fellowship.
Good evening, Chaz Brogan. I'm the interim executive director from Good Fellowship Ambulance. Before the committee tonight is a contract that's kind of the culmination of years and years of relationship building and working with the borough and all 10 of the municipalities that Good Fellowship serves. Several years ago, on the request from a lot of municipalities, they wanted to see this in a contractual agreement, especially on the funding side. So it's taken us a couple of years to get here through COVID. But happy to be here tonight. We have a contract that was written pro bono by Kristen Camp, well-known solicitor. We presented this to 9 of our 10 townships, and we're presenting it to the borough tonight for any questions, and hopes you would approve and send it up to council for a vote.
The way the funding breaks out, was that by call volume?
Yep.
Did I look at that right?
If you scroll down just a little bit here, when you get to the table, keep going, right there. So the way this works is we look at everybody's population and everybody's actual call volume and split that half and half. So it's as fair as possible. Every municipality is paying their fair share then. Westchester Borough, obviously the highest of the 10, just based off the call volume. But yeah, that's how we came out with our formula. You guys enjoy fire contracts similar to this currently, and we're just kind of looking to follow in line with them and hopefully make it easier for both the municipal side and Good Fellowship.
Great. Any questions? Mr. Metrick?
I just want to add a few more details to the contract. Just for council's benefit, council has made a voluntary contribution to Good Fellowship Ambulance for years. And going back to 2019, the amount contributed was $88,000. In 2020, 21, and 22, the contribution ranged between $100,000 and $105,000. And this increase to $141,000. We have $140,000 in next year budget because we've been talking with Good Fellowship throughout this process to understand what were the financial challenges they were facing. They invited council and members of our team to visit their facility, talk about how much a stretcher costs, how much pharmaceuticals
Medications, yeah.
cost, why it takes so much to outfit a vehicle. So we really appreciated that time to bring us along to understand the costs that the organization is facing. Westchester University, you see where I'm going with this. Westchester Borough accounts for 31% of the population in the service area, but 37% of the calls. So I'd like to look at a little more of that information and have a conversation with the university about assisting with supporting Good Fellowship. I think the time is ripe to do that. And just a question for Mr. Brogan. There is a provision in the contract for the number to be discounted by assessments levied against assisted living facilities. If you could maybe talk a little bit about that and see if there are any talk about any that are in our area.
Yeah, so this was an initiative kicked off by West Whiteland 3 or 4 years ago, where essentially through the process of conditional use, when a new assisted living nursing center came in, by conditional use, it actually put in them buying the ambulance memberships for the entire facility, whether the room is vacant or not. So West Whiteland has started that initiative. We have 2 that are being proposed right now in our area of West Whiteland. West Goshen has 1 right now. So I know this has been a discussion at the COG as well, that regionally all municipalities should do this going forward. Should there be a proposed assisted living facility, nursing, that by conditional use, they would have to support Good Fellowship with memberships, that amount would come out of this contract amount. So there are none currently in Westchester Borough. I did have a conversation with Westtown about this, and we committed to them that we would certainly engage those current facilities with this conversation. Just understanding they have no mandate to do that. Hopefully voluntarily they would do it with us though and understand the benefit and the need. So we will certainly have those conversations through 2023 and try to reduce this number as much as possible for the following year.
And also, if I may add too, the term of this contract is 3 years, and the question came up in some emails back and forth. There is Section 2 talks about the term, but also a right to terminate with 90 days notice at the end of the year. So it's something the borough can get out of if for whatever reason should choose to do that. I don't see a reason why, but just know that that's an option in there.
And I really appreciate the collaboration between our administration and yours. It makes budgeting a dream. So thank you. I really, really appreciate it. Again, could never do what you guys do ever. I can't even think about doing it, to be honest with you.
I'm doing a ride along. It should.
The thought honestly terrifies me, but I'm very impressed. And yeah, it's expensive stuff for sure. So I'm really happy that we're able to provide a little more stability
Thank you.
looking forward. I think that's great.
We appreciate it.
Any other?
No.
Comments,
Thank
questions?
you. And that is, I think this is an excellent next step. And I think it's a wonderful thing.
Great.
Great.
Thank you.
Wonderful. We'll call that 2-0 as well. And then we'll round it up with 4C, which is our meeting minutes, which look good to me.
Approved.
Awesome. Be another 2-0. Any other business tonight? All righty. Seeing none, we'll go ahead and adjourn at 5:49. Thank you.